convincing win in straight sets to move on. Djokovic came into his match against Struff, and honestly, you know how it usually goes with Novak. He doesn't mess around, especially in earlier rounds and tournaments. Struff tried to keep up and did throw some heavy stuff at him in rallies, but Novak battled at the baseline and broke his serve nearly in every single set. And with that, Djokovic won in just under 2 hours, rolling into the next match, which feels like routine for him at this point. He sprinted through 3 straight sets, so Mahatch ended up way out of his depth, and so Fritz racked up another win for the Americans. And since Fritz is the last American out of Ben Shelton, Tiafoe and Tommy Paul, he's now become the last hope for Americans winning the US Open. But on the other side, Mannarino had a tough match. He grabbed the set and made it a real grind with those long rallies, but his opponent just stuck around, and whenever the big points showed up, he stepped up, especially in the tiebreaker in the last couple of sets. So even though Mannarino was fighting till the end, his opponent pulled off a marathon win and grabbed the spot in his quarterfinals. Taylor Fritz moved into the quarterfinals with straight sets 6-4, 6-3, 6-3, win over Thomas Mahatch, and honestly it looked quite smooth. But he was carrying the weight of being the only American man left in the draw after Shelton, Tiafoe and Paul all exited. Just backhand drifted wide, and then dialed up his intensity in the second set with another key break in just 98 minutes. And so it wasn't just a battle, but it was precision and power. But beyond the stats, it's bigger than just a win, because now Fritz is the one bearing the torch for Americans, chasing that slam drought that's gone on since 2003, and he's cracked the quarters for the 3rd straight year, which means he's not just hanging on, but he has a proper chance of getting to the finals or even winning the US Open, only if something happens to Sinner or Alcaraz, and with the crowd behind him, he might have a good chance of that happening. Carlos Alcaraz powered into the quarterfinals with a 7-6, 6-3, 6-4 win over Rinderknech. It looks seamless, but don't look back. But he didn't just win, he sprinkled in flair with a behind the back trick shot and showed his flair and control in the same moment. But the numbers back it up. He remains the only man with a perfect run through 4 rounds without dropping his set, and at just 22 years old, he's the youngest in the Open era to rack up 13 Grand Slam quarterfinal appearances. And so this isn't just a routine, but it's a landmark, it's another hurdle. It showed that he was more locked in than ever with his rhythm, his readiness to push deep into the New York tournament. Adrian Mannarino made it to the round of 16 in a way that felt as odd as it was emotional. He advanced after beating Ben Shelton, who was having a breakthrough season but had to retire with a shoulder injury at 2 sets all. But this wasn't just a walkover. Shelton was leading and playing great until the pain hit, and so it felt like what might have been, not exactly was. But for Mannarino, this is rare progress. The 37-year-old veteran says it's his first 3rd week appearance at New York, and he's now spent over 2 hours battling through long rallies, and so he earned every bit of the moment, even if it came with mixed feelings. Novak Djokovic eased into the quarterfinals with a 6-3, 6-3, 6-2 win over Struff, and it came off looking smooth, but he spent the entire match dealing with a right shoulder and forearm injury, even calling for treatment during changeovers. And so every point could have gone sideways, but instead he broke Struff a total of 6 times and still won 80% of his first serve points, all in just 109 minutes. But this win wasn't just another checkmark, because at 38 years old, he became the oldest person to ever reach the quarterfinals at all 4 Grand Slams in one season, and he racked up his 64th Grand Slam quarterfinal, extending that record. And so it's a milestone not even just for his age but for dominance. But beyond that, Struff wasn't an easy opponent, because he had knocked out some big names just to get to the round of 16 and play Djokovic. So Novak had to be sharp, and he showed he's still efficient and smart as ever. He's dominated tennis this last few years, and the odds back Sinner is at the top pick and Alcaraz not far behind. But Carlos had a knee scare in the 3rd round. He took a medical timeout, and questions remain whether he's still fully healthy. But Sinner just a week ago had to retire from the Cincinnati Open, so it looks like they're both equally unstable. But these last few, the women's side, Iga Swiatek, Aryna Sabalenka stand out. Swiatek had a recent Wimbledon title and a Cincinnati win. She's sturdy in her game, but Sabalenka is the defending US Open champion and thrives off these courts. She brings power and hunger, and so even if the odds are close, that final between them is likely. But both faces from their side, Coco Gauff, Madison Keys and Elena Rybakina, show real firepower. So if they hit prime form, we could see a surprise late run. But the bottom line is, the top seeds are Sinner, Alcaraz, Swiatek and Sabalenka. But any crack in form or injury, especially for Alcaraz, opens a window for Sinner to take home another US Open. So the next few matches could either reinforce the favourites or offer a stage for the bold. If you're a YouTuber like me, then thumbnails will be your most valued asset. So click on the link in the pinned comment down below to go to this website, which rates your thumbnail on a scale of 1 to 10 based on virality and tells you what to improve to make it even better than what it already is. It gives you straightforward tips and doesn't give you any false information. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It would mean so much if you like, subscribed, and join my Discord community in the description down below.